Welcome to Vice and Easy, your podcast for all things Miami Vice, with your host, Marina.
Hello and welcome back to Vice and Easy. This week, we are breaking down Season 5, Episode 8, entitled Hard Knocks. This week, we're actually going to spend a little bit more time with Switek. It's not a happy one, just FYI. It's a pretty dark episode, and I did tear up a little towards the end. It's a good portrayal of addiction, of self-destructive behavior, of getting far too in over your head, and when your choices hurt those around you. So just FYI. But let's get into it. As I kind of already touched on, this is the IMDb synopsis. Switek sinks into drunkenness and self-destructive behavior after a dangerous mobster forces him to talk his indebted quarterback buddy into throwing a game to pay off his own enormous gambling debts. Oof. Then this cold open also throws me for a loop. First off, my mind has been garbage this whole week. In one day, I forgot my social security number. And I almost backed into a telephone pole at a gas station. To be fair, it shouldn't be that close to the pump, but I did not notice it until I almost hit it. So it's just one of those weeks where I don't feel like I'm operating at 100%. So bear with me. Feel free to make fun of any mistakes I make this week. You'll get a pass. I was watching Jeopardy a couple weeks ago, and there was a clue with the answer being a causeway. And I got it wrong. And then laughing to myself, definitely the feeling of a similar, brain fog. I look at causeways every single week. I've gone to New Orleans. I've gone to Miami multiple times. Causeways versus a bridge. Seems to be that causeways are low-lying, kind of following the water, not too high up, where a bridge, obviously, you can play with the levels a little bit. Now, this cold open appeals to me in many ways. It is a very... You have classic CanCon, Big Leagues by Tom Cochran, about his son going to play in the NHL. You have a coach who talks to his team this way.
Hey, girls, get your fat butts in the right place.
So we've seen Switek in this cold open. He's making a call to his bookie, naturally using the code name The Bug that we've seen him use before. Then he's actually going to be watching this practice at the old Orange Bowl with an old friend, Mac, remember that name for later, who is a huge POS, and I will get back to that later in the episode. But why were we focusing on the truck and the intro? So we have this truck, just looks like a regular fruit truck, driving down the causeway. We see Gina and Trudy looking like $1 million, and we know that Crockett and Tubbs are also in the mix. So what's going on? Okay, so this truck is... I don't want to say a boiler room, but it's basically in the back. It's a gambling hotline. I want to know how the phones, how does everybody have their own number? Is it one number with different extensions? I love the ashtrays. They didn't think about that. You're moving in a... You'll see how it all kind of plays out. But the juxtaposition of this gambling truck... I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing. I had to make so many gifs of it. So this gambling truck, we have Tom Cochran's Big Leagues. Then we have Switek and a friend watching the friend's son practice football. These are all going to come together, but let me play a little bit of Big Leagues before we move on.
Don't lose him, Air One. You got it. Suspect hitting south on Blue Jay.
There was dialogue all over every part of the chorus I tried to grab, so this was the best I could do. But that definitely took me back. That was one you'd hear all the time. Tom Cochrane, of course, if you don't know, also did Life is a Highway. It also said that Red Rider is credited on the song, and I 100% believe that. That's also a Canadian band who did Lunatic Fringe, so it's very cute to see all the CanCons supporting each other and coming together. But this gambling truck, so the driver seems to see that the heat is catching up to him. So as he's driving and getting away, he disconnects the trailer and makes a left. Thereby, this gambling container trailer, boiler room, boiler trailer, boiler container, whatever you want to call it, slams into some parked cars, slows down, stops. A great shot of Crockett and Tubbs getting out of the Testarossa that is very Vice City coded, except for the ripped jeans. And there's, again, a great shot of kind of everyone waiting to make this bust while they're just papers, cigarettes, all these things, ashtrays, boards, phones, all in the background. And that is how we get into this episode. So after the cold open, we're at Vice. And my question is this the first vest Crockett has worn? I want to say he's worn a vest on maybe not that many occasions, but this, you can definitely see it in the gallery. This, I was like, it's been a while. I haven't seen Crockett like this. As they're talking about busting Chi Chi Vasquez's gambling ring, who you will see in a second, Switek doesn't really hide what's going on.
Boy, oh boy. From what I hear, Saturday night's game is really generating some action. It's like Wall Street out there.
Gotta be an idiot to go with the spread. State in 6.5 points? Give me a break.
No one notices, really. Like, Castillo just kind of goes right back to normal. He just wants everybody up on this. The flamingo mug is back, as you can also see in the gallery. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you're new to the podcast, the gallery is screenshots and GIFs that you can use to follow along with the episode that you can find in the descriptor notes of each and every episode of Vice and Easy. But the flamingo mug, again, I can't remember what episode it's from, but I'm glad it's back. Now, Castillo has some more news for Switek. This one hurts.
So, they emphasized it's not personal, it's just a lack of funds.
Not personal. It'll be 2 more years before I can apply again. 2 more years of sitting in that rolling black box.
If it's a matter of money, there's always a credit union.
Nah, it's not just the money, Lieutenant. It's the whole damn thing. The job. I don't know how much longer I can take it.
Well, if it's any consolation, you're the best we've ever had at what you do.
Yeah, right.
My heart really broke for him there because we've all been there. We've all been at jobs that either we feel unappreciated at or legitimately don't have the funds. And also the way that Castillo's like, just go to the credit union. Like, yeah, no, I'd like to have a higher salary so I don't need to take on any excess debts or have a line of credit. And that sucks that he can't apply for another 2 years. That is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. And again, Switek mentions, like, I don't know how long I can take this. And they kind of just brush it off. I understand there's a very different attitude towards mental health and burnout almost 40 years ago, but like, ding, 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 ding. If your employee is like, hey, I don't know how much longer I could do this, you kind of have to sit down and talk with them. I don't know. I understand why they're doing all this because it sets up the episode, but yeah, this scene hurts. My note is Castillo says he's the best at what he does. So pay, all caps, him, ! We cut to Chi Chi Vasquez. Again, please, you just got to see this outfit. Number one, you'll recognize Ismael Carlos. He was in Cuba Libre. Amazing, like, gray curly mullet, open shirt with gold chains and chest hair. You know how I'm a sucker for that. Light blue suit. Chef's kiss. He's getting incensed over any mention of possibly anonymous tips. Hint, hint. Then let's go to the nicest after hours venue I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, to be fair, I have gone to 2 after hours here in Los Angeles, and I went to a lot in Toronto, and they were always kind of like ramshackle. That's not even the right word. You know what I'm talking about. Where, like exposed wall bricks, but like not in that cool artsy loft way. Like this is about to be torn down, or like we are going to be, moving soon when we get caught, or like this is an abandoned warehouse that we refurbish. This looks like this huge glamorous house party that everybody is dressed to the nines to gamble. And this isn't like backdoor gambling. Okay, so speaking of, there's this dive bar in LA that I've been to, and it's very fun. The rumor is that there's gambling in the back. I don't know if I want to get involved in literally backdoor gambling and after hours club, but I really want to see it. I want to know what they're playing. It's definitely not going to be like this. You're not going to be having craps tables and poker tables and roulette. Like this is going to be, I don't want to say wake and fright, but that's exactly what I'm thinking of. It's just betting in. If you haven't seen Wake and Fright, the scene I'm referring to is like the backdoor gambling. It's like all these sweaty, shirtless men in this kind of dying mining town betting on coin flips. And this is exactly what I would expect. If I do go to this bar in LA, I will report back on how it is, because it is not going to be like this. I took so many gifs of like this woman in a beautiful white dress, the dealer wearing a tie, even Switek next to a mysterious woman who's not his girlfriend. I don't think he was doing anything funny. Maybe they were just, blackjack buddies. I like to make a lot of those. But it took me out of it. I know that there have been makeshift illegal casinos in houses. I, however, don't think they look like this. I would like to know, why don't you invite me? I would like to come to your illegal casino house to play some roulette. And I'm still thinking back to after hours clubs. So I only got invited by guys to after hour clubs. And these were guys that I was kind of seeing. And looking back at it now, I'm like, I totally missed signs that they were doing more than just drinking there. Totally missed it. I was newly sober and got completely ghosted by pretty much all of them. Yeah. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. And what's even worse, I was like, yeah, this is great. He wants to spend time with me. He just wanted me to give him a ride home. That's why. Because I was the DD. Oh, dear. Well, speaking of bars, let's check in, because next it's Max Club Deuce. So the POS father that Switek was talking to in the stands, who was berating his son and being completely rude and disrespectful and pushy and classist, is the owner in this universe of Max Club Deuce. Hence his name is Mac. However, I don't think the actual Mac would be proud of this man sharing that name, because I don't think the original Mac would have ever done that. This dad, just listen to him.
The least bit of gratitude.
Gratitude. Kevin loves you, Mac. Isn't that enough? Look, it isn't my place to talk about this with you, but don't you think Kevin needs a little positive feedback?
Oh, positive feedback. What are you, one of them new age head shrinks?
No, but a blind man can see you're too hard on him. If he is headed in the wrong direction, it's even more important you be supportive.
Hey, listen to you. Who busted his butt night and day practicing with a kid?
I know that, Mac. But it's not always what you do.
You know something, Stan? It took me till now to realize you're a jerk.
soft, full of crap, just like all the rest of them.
Yeah, Switek's the jerk in this situation. Well, Switek is loyal to Kevin, the son, because he's not telling his dad that he saw him at this illegal underground casino with his beautiful girlfriend and his agent. Again, NCAA agents. That was a whole big scandal. Then now I believe they get compensated for their likeness. But that was not the case in 1988, 89? No, this was filmed in 1988. Again, let's just suspend belief. Yeah, owing money, big problem this episode. Switek gets roughed up by two goons. One is a returning goon. The other is a new goon that we will deal with a little bit more in the episode. Back at OCB, Castillo, Crockett, and Tubbs are discussing the hit on Chi Chi Vasquez that we saw. I hope I have a picture of it. I might have included in Best Dress, but you can also see that he gets shanked while he's getting shanked by the goon while he's going over his books, which is exactly the way he was going to go out. But one person's missing. Where's Switek? Crockett and Tubbs think it's the promotion, and I included this clip because you'll hear the weird ADR that you can tell that Philip Michael Thomas definitely had to come in and record like those three words after the episode had already finished filming.
Heck, that's the second time this week.
I don't know. I think he's still been out of shape. What about not getting that promotion?
What he needs are some strokes. Make him feel appreciated.
I hear you. If we get a chance, let's have a chat with him.
That's really sweet. Those are good coworkers. Now, Kevin's hot water with the goons, owing a lot of money, so he goes to his agent, Jerome, who he also blames for getting him started, or I guess, bringing him to those parties. But you also racked up $100,000 worth of debt. Whose fault is that? Just saying. Now let's visit back in with the father of the year.
What the hell's the matter with you? Starting to fight with your own teammates. You want to know what's the matter with me, huh? You want to know? You look in the mirror. You talk. No, all my life you push, and I'm sick of it. Kevin, throw harder. Kevin, run. Oh, look at him crying like a little girl. No, you listen to me, Pop. You listen to me for once in your life. I'm sorry, all right? I'm sorry you blew out your knee. Okay? I'm sorry it ended your career. But that doesn't give you the right to make me pay for it every day of my damn life. You got it wrong! I made you!
Kevin, read his dad for filth, as the kids would say. And he's 100% right. His dad is just an overbearing stage dad. The fact that your son is playing, that he's a hurricane, you should just be proud of that. And the fact that he's so, racist, classist, angry with himself, thinks Switek is being a jerk. Unfortunately, this guy lives, spoiler alert. Let's check in with someone also in a bad mood tonight, Switek. Again, watching sports, seeing what the results of the game are. I'm sorry, ESPN. Sorry, I guess I confused it with Sports Center, which... Just watching sports, go sports. His woman doesn't really understand what's going on. He's freaking out about the game. She just kind of brushes it off, not realizing that it sets something off in him. He raises his voice at her, but at least he quickly realizes, and he knows, he shouldn't have snapped at her, and they hug, and he starts to open up be a little bit more vulnerable about how he feels at work and the stress that's causing him. Because I don't think she knows anything at all about how deep and how serious his problem is.
You know what I am now?
Yes, I do. You're a cop and a damn good one.
No, I'm not. I'm an eavesdropper. I spy on people. I'm no better than they are.
My note is I would love that. I love gossip. I just want to know everything that's going on. Other note is that a slot machine at his apartment? It's like really hard to tell in the background. But the scene with her standing by the doorway when he gets the call, that looks like a slot machine. Because I swear I see an arm. Again, it's grainy, but it could also be like a very early generation arcade game. Unfortunately, Google Images hasn't really been performing as well as it used to. I was trying to find the goon and just to quickly figure out what episode he's from. I wish I could just like scan it on my computer because I know one of his pictures is in there. But same thing, it wouldn't give me any information. I was like, oh my God, like this man has a very unique face. He's definitely in Google Images. It was just giving me like the LinkedIns of random middle managers in the Midwest. I was like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh my God. Well, unfortunately, Switek's call that he answers, not a good one. Because the loan sharks don't just bring up his girl, but also bring up Kevin. And I wrote, damn, he owes $75,000. Then we cut to another, I'm assuming, illegal casino. This is at a different venue than the previous one. But first of all, let's just go through the gallery, ignore the plot for a second. Beer light, those amazing rings, getting 4 aces. Getting 3 aces. And I was also wondering, I was doing a little bit of research because I'm, a product of my generation. I played Texas Hold'em in frat houses and in basement bars in college and beyond. So I'm very used to Texas Hold'em. This, I believe, is Omaha poker where you are dealt 4 cards. And so I was like, holy, even if he has to discard a card or 2, you still have 3 of a kind of aces of the highest card there is. I was like, oh, what a lucky hand. Too bad it's not Switek's. Then Switek, during this scene, he's shuffling his own cards. Is he going to fold? Because I can see a king of spades. I wouldn't want people to know what I have during that poker game. Don't know if it was a continuity thing. Who knows?
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Well, the one nice thing that does come out of this is that Switek and Kevin get to bond a little because unfortunately they have something in common.
My old man, Mr. Straight and Narrow, he never broke bad a day in his life.
No, I don't know. Straightness has its virtues.
Like what?
Like nobody comes and breaks your legs when you owe money.
How'd you know?
I hear things. I'm a cop, remember? Oh, Kevin. How did you get into this mess?
I don't know, Sting. Jerome, I guess.
Oof, he also tells Switek that his debts are actually now $200,000. Whew. Switek also tells him to throw the game on Saturday. Then we get a very sad montage. You see Switek drinking out of a paper bag as his girlfriend's at home with what looks like a feast. Then he gets to the bar. Woody's on the beach. This amazing neon burlesque bar. And it's awkward. Like the girl laughs and walks away. Not laughs, but she has stink face and walks away when he tries to dance. Then he gets her to fight, throws a guy into the mirror, then starts fighting with the bartender who jumps over the bar to try and kick his ass. Then another regular tries to fight him and calm him down when Crockett and Tubbs get there. Crockett obviously has to give a great one-liner.
Last call.
The song playing in the background is Nobody's Perfect by Mike the Mechanics. I think they got a little too literal I think they could have chosen something better because it's not just nobody's perfect. We all have flaws. Like, this is a man who is on a very dangerous path, not only for himself, but for his loved ones. Then we cut to Crockett and Tubbs, who've obviously taken him out of the bar for his own protection and for everybody else's safety. They try to talk to him. And this scene also got to me because it's so realistic when you're dealing with somebody with addiction issues who isn't ready to come clean.
That's it. It's just about Holly.
Yeah. You know how chicks get about marriage. They make life hell.
Well, it doesn't seem like such a bad thing. I mean, Holly's a great lady.
Yeah, but you haven't lived with her.
That's amazing, man. You know, I just don't get that from her. I mean, she doesn't come across that way. In fact, she's waiting for you. Right now, over at her place.
So I'll call her when I feel like it, okay? I mean, what the hell do you guys know about it? You haven't lived with her. You asked me what's bothering me. So I told you. So butt out.
The score didn't really fit the vibe of that because actually that conversation really hit home with me as well. Just when somebody's not ready to face up to what they're going through and they'll make excuses and they'll blame everything else and they're just not ready. And I really commend Crockett and Tubbs with being so patient. Like, they obviously can tell that Holly is not the real reason. I like how they're pressing. They're like, she doesn't really seem like that kind of woman. And also, like, the spread that she made him had biscuits and, like, corn on the cob and lighted candles. I was like, wow, okay. That is a feast. That is a feast that Switek missed because he was getting drunk and fighting at Woody's on the beach. Let's go to another bar. Let's go check in at Mac's Club Deuce. As Mac is closing up shop, he gets whacked in the back by one of the goons and put into a trunk. This is also a reminder to anybody who works night shift, retail, hospitality, never close alone. Never, 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 never. And those goons are not just coming for Mac because Switek gets a visit as well from the dad from Step Brothers, who Switek is not going to get off that easy with.
And you, Mr. Switek, are a very serious gambler. Poker, football, you're very serious. But you never win. So consequently, you owe me a lot of money.
Look, I tried to talk to Kevin. He wouldn't listen.
Yeah, I know. That's what his old man said, too.
Mac? What'd you do to Mac?
Nothing yet. You know, you guys ought to be feeding him lunch.
If you lay a hand
Hey, shut up. Shut up! You sick degenerate. You owe me a lot of money and you do not goof on me. Now, unless Junior swallows a few passes on game day, you and a washed-up quarterback are going to end up a couple of channel markers. You understand?
Switek goes to see Kevin at practice to tell him about his dad. And this little segue, this is alleged, and it's a conspiracy theory that I've definitely read on the internet before. But this reminds me that allegedly Michael Jordan's gambling problem played a part in the suspicious death of his father, who was parked on the side of the road sleeping when he was shot. and that possibly could have contributed to him playing in the minor leagues for a few years before going back to the NBA. Allegedly. This is, I was trying to think of where I've seen similar tropes to this before, and the first thing that popped up was Montreal when Rick Fox guest starred. But yeah, I was like, was this episode just ahead of its time? Allegedly. Okay, so back at the bar, this is also very much a pet peeve because this is absolutely sloppy writing. So Switek is allowed back in the bar after fighting with the staff, breaking a mirror, throwing guests into the mirror. And this, I guess, happened the day before, and the bartender just kind of makes some like very half-hearted plea, like, please don't do anything. I thought I had a clip of it, but I don't. Like, please don't break anything tonight. And then serves him a shot of whiskey. Are you joking? In what world? Unless he owns the place, that is not happening at all. And I understand that CCTV did not always have the best quality, but if you know who the person is who started a fight in your bar and destroyed your property and fought your staff, that person would not be back drinking whiskey straight at the bar again. Sorry, pet peeve, rant over. Then Switek goes to pay a visit to Jerome to try and find out where Mac is. As you can tell, surprise, surprise, Jerome's office is the office of my dreams with those glass blocks with the green and pink lighting. In the scuffle, it doesn't look like Switek has tossed him off the top floor. You can kind of see Switek kind of try and grab him back, but it's too late and Jerome falls to his death. Then we get to the action. We are at a very snazzy bar. It could also be the same bar that Chi Chi Vasquez owned. I think it's different. I was trying to kind of see that, but we're looking at it from different angles. You could see that some of it's definitely a set, like a little haphazardly, but like I love the leather seats and the glassware and the blue lights. As you can see, Mac being hung up, being forced to watch the game that his son is being forced to lose.
What are you doing here, Mr. Goodman? I figured you'd be watching the game on your yacht.
Well, it's one thing to watch a football game on TV, but to watch him watch his son throw it. Now, there's an afternoon.
That's what I like about you, Mr. Goodman. You're a real competitor.
Switek enters through the back, enters through the kitchen, shoots a goon, and the other goon runs to find out what happened. The goon who has been on Miami Vice was the one, Miami Vice is the one who's got shot. And the other goon gets killed in a very, very comical fashion. The gif of him dying with his arms stretched out. I'm sorry, that made me laugh. That was pretty good. That's a very epic way to close out your character. Crockett and Tubbs are close behind. This is when Switek confronts Goodman. Goodman does have leverage on Switek, so this is a sticky situation.
You're not gonna bust me, because I know all your little secrets.
Mac kicks him over the edge. He was reaching into his pocket for a gun when he got kicked over the edge and subsequently electrocuted, it appears. But remember that when Crockett and Tubbs get there, and you can see the way they're looking at Switek, like they're something seems off, and they can tell. And once there are a little bit more details, Crockett is definitely pushing back.
How the hell did you find me, Stan?
Yeah, how'd you know they were here? I put a bug on Horowitz. He was in on all this.
You put a bug on him? Without a court order?
They were gonna kill Mac. There was no time. What else was I supposed to do?
So we get a mix of very sweet and sentimental, and then a lot of comic relief in this one scene for two different reasons. This is at halftime, and the coach is about to take Kevin off. Obviously, because we could hear he's getting sacked a bunch. You could tell like he's not, his coach can tell that he's not playing at his best, and we know why. Then he sees his dad and runs after the coach and screams out, "Coach!" and just kind of fades into that scene. The comical part is, please look at all of these players. I took a lot of photos, put them at the gallery. These are 31-year-old extras. These are not college kids. Even Kevin, he was 26 when this was being filmed, but he's an older 26. Like, I don't buy this kid for a college kid. He looks older. And it turns out that is kind of what he needed, knowing that his dad was okay and that they weren't going to kill his dad if he didn't throw the game. He goes out and they win the game. It's very sweet after Kevin and Switek have a really nice moment. Kevin tells him, what his plans are, and he would like to include Stan, but Stan's not quite ready yet.
You're going to be on probation for a while.
Yeah, I know, if I play ball with the DA. Hey, Stan, you don't want to talk about it. That's cool, but I want you to know they're not going to get your name from me.
Okay.
I owe you that.
All right. Believe me, Kevin, I'm going to beat this thing. How about you? You make the call yet?
Yeah. My first meeting's tomorrow night. Gamblers Anonymous. I mean, who would have ever thought a high school acey-deucey game would have led me to this?
That's great.
Hey, Stan. Why don't you come with me?
I can't, kid. I got a lot of loose ends I got to tie up. Maybe next time, though, okay?
Yeah. Next time.
Oh, the last few minutes of this episode really get me because it so hits home when you and someone are bonding over dealing with the same addiction, but one person is ready to make that step and the other isn't. And it's really hard to maintain the relationship when that is the case. And I will tell you that from personal experience of a lot of people who have interacted with me looking for help or advice or guidance, and I do get shut out a lot. And I've just learned to really brush that off and try to keep reaching out until a certain extent, and then you really do have to take care of yourself. And knowing that you can't really help someone who doesn't want help. And it's not your fault, it's not their fault, they're just not ready. It's not their time, and there's nothing you can do. That scene really got to me, but then the next scene, Switek is sitting outside in his boxers when Crockett comes up to talk to him. It's very much a rock bottom moment. You can hear me getting a little emotional. And Crockett has the black book from Goodman. Switek's name is all over it. That scene where Crockett hands Switek the black book, and it's not like a direct reach. Switek has to, make the effort to grab it. And to see the shame and the pain in his face of knowing that, this is how bad it is. This is how much your addiction and your illness, how much damage it's caused. That was a very well acted scene, because that's when he breaks. That's when he starts crying, and that's when Crockett is there to comfort him. But that scene, really well acted, really well written. The facial expressions that Michael Talbot is going through, kudos. Overall, I have my qualms with the episode, but there's definitely someone in the writer's room who knew addiction, either personally or a family member, because that aspect of the episode is really well written. And wow, what a roller coaster with how much laughing I was doing earlier in the episode till now. Let's get into some fashion. no offense to Switek, but his character is not exactly the best dressed. So my top picks this episode were wild cards because I could not get over not just the man drinking the beer light with all those rings, but the way he was dressed and the attitude he had, and then the guy behind him with the fedora, just that whole scene, just mwah, chef's kiss. Chi Chi Vasquez and all his accessories, also wild card. And I put Crockett's vest as a wild card as well, because that's not really something I expected to see him wear this episode. But I did make a note. I can't find the picture. I guess I might have forgotten to upload it. But I pointed out another Mandarin collar. So you can definitely see, while we all have our favorite seasons and gripes with different seasons, I do appreciate being able to see those little changes in fashion over the span of the series. Best dressed woman, naturally, I'm going to go with Gina and Trudy at the bust. And then Gina also looks really nice in that scene where they're going over, Saturday's game right after the bust. I really like her red lips there. It matches like the little lapel brooch that she has on her blazer. Gorgeous. I also wanted to point out, I am 90% sure that, remember Artie's apartment, and it was that like a right triangle apartment. I'm not describing that well. Please, again, go to the gallery and see it. But if my research was right, it is at 1000 Venetian Way. Still there to this day. But you can see that from the truck's point of view in the cold open. So I thought that was fun. And obviously the interiors this episode, not just Woody's on the beach, Jerome's office, that all white room where one guy is having lunch and the other is talking to him, not a phone in sight. Just amazing decor, eating by yourself while you're going over to deliver a message. I love it. Now with music, naturally, there are only 2 choices, so naturally you know which one I'm going to pick. I always have to go with the Canadian classic. And I do like Mike and the Mechanics, but I think we're all in the same boat. The song we really like is The Living Years. Like, that's one of those road trip songs where you're just like, I remember this song. And then you forget how brutal the lyrics are. Why am I crying in the club right now? Actually, no, I talked to my dad yesterday. He likes to call me at 10:30 or 11:30 his time, which gives me a heart attack, because I'm like, why is my 80-year-old father calling me at 11:30 or 11 his time? No, he just wants to talk. He just wants to gossip. I'm like, okay. It's like, now that Jeopardy's done and I've watched The Daily Show, now I can make my gossip calls. Always gives me a heart attack. Now let's round out this episode with our top quotes of the episode.
Hey, girls, get your fat butts in the right place.
Quote 2.
It's called.
And clip 3.
And you, Mr. Switek, are a very serious gambler. Poker, football, you're very serious. But you never win.
And the winner.
Hey, girls, get your fat butts in the right place.
Hey, it's not politically correct, but this episode needs all the comic relief it can get. And with that, we are wrapping up this episode of Vice and Easy. I wanted to thank you all for supporting, for liking, for subscribing, for leaving 5-star reviews, for finding me wherever you get your podcasts, for finding me on YouTube, and for following me on all things social at Vice and Easy Podcast. Thank you again for joining me this week, and I will definitely see you for the next episode. And until then, take care, and as always.
Hey man, Miami Wise is #1 new show.